concept, one more time, we have ourselves a really simple phone booth to model from. Okay. Now, this is actually great because one of the old demos I used to have in my model creation class way back when, it was to model a high-res phone booth. So this is perfect. So actually, I'm gonna take off these elbow pads because they're a little annoying right now. Modeling's a lot of strenuous work. All right. So there we go. So let's go ahead and start modeling out the block out of this object. So again, it's let's just modeling this basic shape out. Let's just start with 2 cubes slammed together, okay? And we, as a matter of fact, we can even model from the same one. So check this out. So let's go into create polygons and make sure interactive creation is taken off. So you can just hit a cube and you start with the cube. So let's fly in. Okay. And again, let's go ahead and start snapping to the corners, hitting insert and dragging to the grid. Okay, cool. So first things first, I'm just going to narrow this guy out a little bit to get this little more rectangular shape. And I'm going to snap him up now by a few degrees. Now I'm holding X to snap up because I think it just works a little bit easier for me. Okay. And that looks to me about right. If anything, I'll snap up one more unit. Actually, I'll just go ahead and I'll just eyeball it. Okay, cool. Now, going with that, I'm going to shift right click, extrude face, but I'm actually going to hit the little blue square at the tip of the arrow, expand this guy out a little, and let's see, actually I think I want it to be a little fatter, so on the right hand side I'm actually going to scale it out just a little bit more. I'm going to hit G. Okay, perfect. So we got ourselves a telephone booth from like 95 in like Doom or something. Great. So now we got to go ahead and knocking out some of the details. So first things first, let's go ahead and actually, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and grab these edges. Okay. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to bevel edge. Now, normally you could just hit bevel edge and like just hit the command right there and it'll work, but it sometimes likes to fuck up like that. See, I did not work. So let's go to bevel edge and go to the little node box next to it. And then hit apply. Okay, that definitely did not work. So let's go ahead and go a little bit smaller. 0.0172. Better, but not quite. 0.0034, much better. Okay, so that works a little bit better. And now the one thing I'll show you is that we've also in doing so we've created n-gons, haven't we? Right. So these faces right here are n-gons, so we got to fix that. So come in with the right here the trying to get to my object mode. Split poly tool. Shift right click, and we're going to cut across. So that way we keep everything still quadded out. Okay. Same thing over here on this side. And shift merge vertex. I'm going to snap into the corners right there. Snap right there, snap right there. Alright, party. Here we go. So we're getting this, we're slowly but surely getting that shape out, right? So again, just adding a few bevels to the edges. Awesome. Now, let's start carving in some shapes, okay? So this is, I believe, the front of my model. So let's go ahead and cut from here. So I'm going to add 2 edge loops. One right there, and one right there. Whoa, hello. Let's not do that. Let me adjust my insert edge loop tool so it just does one. Okay. Okay. Now what I need to do is I need to do the insert edge loop tool again, but this time I need to make 2 cuts equidistant from each other. So I'm going to do multiple edge loops. Okay. But in this situation I'm going to unselect these faces, these edges down here, and I'm going to expand out a little bit more over here. Okay. So step 1. Okay. Sorry, let me just hop back in for just a second. So let me go ahead and make my cuts first before I start editing this geometry, because it's getting a little too high res for me, at least for my liking. So what I'm also going to do now is I'm going to come in here, grab that edge, drag it down a little, so we have the top of that box. Done. Okay. And let's see, now I'm also going to grab these verts and I'm going to scale them in just a little bit. So I want there to be more of a rounded section to this object down at the bottom. Okay, and all I'm going to do is shift, right click, extrude face, and pop that dude down. Okay, so we're already getting the detail that I need from that. Okay, with that said, let's go ahead and use the merge tool one more time. Merge verts, and now I'm going to start making cuts. Alright, looking good. Let me go ahead and delete some of these edges. Right click, there you go. Okay, now one thing I'm going to do, just to make my life a little easier, is I got two triangles that can be removed by just deleting the edges, and now I got squares. Alright, I'll come back and clean the back of that a little later, but in the meantime, we got something good here. Alright, we'll even that out so it looks a little nicer. Okay, cool. Now, now we have that done, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab another cube, because you don't necessarily need to extrude it all from the same model. Okay, so let's get that very clear. We don't need to make everything a beautiful work of art all the time. Sometimes just coming in and making shit work is just as good. And if anything, what I'm also going to do is just because I know myself already, I'm going to delete that edge, because I know I'm never going to see the back of that face, right? No one's ever going to look at the very back of your phone like box or whatever, like the actual unit that you call from. So I can just tuck this guy in. Okay. And again, let's go ahead and round this dude out a little bit. And really fast, if I really want to do a bevel very quick, same thing, just extrude the faces and tuck them in. There you go. Made some extrusions, we're done. Okay. Now, let me go ahead in here and let me narrow it out a little. Fair enough, looking good. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily need to make so much of this detail because we can leave this all to the texture, but what I need to do is I need to make that phone handle. So that's not too hard. So the easiest way to do that, and if anything, let's look at this guy. Let's look at how he did it. He made two cylinders connected with a center piece. Easy enough, right? Let's go ahead and do that. So if anything, I'll make the phone connector over here. I'm sorry, the phone like object. I don't even know what the hell to call that. Handset. Such a spoiled American. I don't even know what that is anymore. Alright. So let's go ahead and drag these verts down. Let's go to, click that vert, control right click to faces, extrude face, and we're going to scale it down a little. Okay, let's look at how you did it again. Okay. Alright, cool. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come down here, Control D, snap it over a couple times. Alright, I'm going to mesh combine. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm grabbing these four faces, extruding together. I'm just going to bring them in like that. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to delete these faces on the inside. And I'm going to come in here, scale these verts together. Because we all know that using scale will average your verts out, right? Shift, right click, merge verts, merge vertices, done. Get your phone handle right there. If you need to make it a little fatter, go ahead. Let's go ahead and there we go. That looks good. Now these things tend to have a little bit more of the ring here. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's grab these verts, Control right click, two faces. Alright, and go to Shift right click, extrude face. Bring that down just a little bit. Okay. And one thing I'm going to do really fast before we continue is I'm actually going to scale these faces down a little bit because they're getting a little too wide for me. There we go, and we're good to go. So I can delete this middle edge. I don't need it can save the polys. Shift right click, delete edge. Okay, and let's go to modify center pivot, and let's rotate this guy 90 degrees. Now I said now here's one thing I was going to get to, and I know some of you guys might be confused. Like, wait, I thought you said don't rotate. You can rotate as long as you're rotating along a 90 degrees axis, okay? So for example, like I don't ever want to see you guys like put an asset like that, like okay, the phone is like off the hook like that, because this is going to be really hard to UV. Watch, let's go ahead and try to UV this later down the line. Okay? So let's grab all these faces temporarily. Okay? And let's go to planar map. Okay, let's see if we can planar map it to X. Okay, let's try that. Okay, so you see how the UV is already screwed up? Whereas if I had just rotated this guy properly along like the axis as it should. Whoops, let's try that. Let's grab that blue handle again. 90 degrees. Whoops. 90 degrees, not 904 degrees. Okay. Now let's try those same faces. Create object, create UVs, planar map to X. And see how it just came out cleanly just like that? And you're good to go. So if you're going to rotate, please do it along like 90-degree rotations. You should be fine. Alright, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and scale this little tool in. I'm going to slam it to the box. Actually, I'm going to turn on wireframe on shaded so I can see a little easier. Okay, so still looking a little big, so we got to make sure this thing fits properly. And we need to make a little phone hook for that thing too. So let's go ahead and grab that phone, and all I'm going to do is just make a very quick little cube. I'm going to vert snap it to the corner here. And check it out, all I'm going to do is just do this. Extrude faces, pull it out. Actually, let me take that back. Insert edge loop tool. Whoops. I'm all screwing up my model. Insert edge loop tool. Let's reset the tool. Drop a little cut right there. Go ahead and delete that edge. And we're going to go into the append poly. Okay. And what I'll do is just to make it a little more angular, I will bring that back. I'm sorry, let me scale this in a little. Okay, now this is going to be the phone hook. And all I need to do really is just come in here and adjust this guy and scale him to the right size of the phone. And again, it doesn't have to be the best model on earth, guys, because no one's really, I mean, even though we're putting this model in the scene, no one's necessarily going to look at it and be like, wow, that's the most beautiful phone I've ever seen in my life. Like, no one cares. You know, it's just, it's to add overall, like, ambience and beauty to your scene. Okay? Okay, cool. Go ahead and pop that dude out a little bit more. Okay, so it looks like we can stick that guy in a little more. Scaling him in. Do the same thing with the phone. Scale this guy out a little more, make him a little wider. Okay. You should be good. Okay, now we need to make that phone cord, don't we? Now I'm gonna do it the simplest way, and that's gonna be by creating a torus. Okay, so to have that phone hook the way I want it to, all I'm gonna do is just do, okay, create polygon primitives torus. I'm gonna snap that guy in right there. I'm gonna rotate him for now at 90 degrees. Okay, and this is the easiest way to do pipes, mind you. Okay, so if you need to make like a very quick pipe, start from a torus, and you could always go from there, because that way you already have your 90-degree rotations already set up for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and take that edge, extrude it. There you are. Okay, now let's go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this guy for just a second. And I'm going to rotate him on the y-axis 180 degrees. And I'm going to rotate him. Actually, I'm going to cut off this piece too. Alright, let's go into the vert snap right there, insert, and I'm going to snap that over here. Now we'll notice here that the UVs are not necessarily working in the way that I want them to. So here's what we're going to do. In order to make this work, I'm going to use these verts, and I'm going to adjust them and place them right there roughly. And now here's the fun part. Now I'm just going to kind of match move everything. And this looks weird, but it'll make sense in a minute. I'm going to right click to edge loop. Goodness, what am I grabbing? Okay, I must have accidentally screwed up and grabbed the wrong vert somewhere. Oh, okay, there it is. Okay, actually, I can delete a couple edges just because I don't need them all. Okay. Okay. And there you have it. Now that can just be pieced together for now, but in essence, you have a phone booth modeled out pretty much right there. Okay? And that's pretty much it. If anything, the only thing I could probably suggest beyond this is that, no, actually I'd say that's pretty good as far as how to model a phone booth, okay? Does that help?
Oh yeah.
Cool.